The Golden State Warriors have always been a team that I've enjoyed watching, even before they landed Kevin Durant. I mean, the team was so impressive to watch, with such a young Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson lighting up teams no matter where they were. It was just an insane time to be watching the Warriors. And then once they landed Kevin Durant, it was done. It was wraps. That team got so fun to watch. I'm not even going to lie. Maybe I was a little bit upset whenever my team would play them, but they were so impressive to watch. It was pretty astonishing to see. But the recent 2 seasons that the Warriors have had, one being one of the worst teams in the NBA and the other being the 9th seed in the West, what do I think the Warriors have in store for next season? The Warriors have just come off of a pretty good season, one that was a little bit underwhelming, but overall it was good regarding who they had on their team and the things that they had to work with. They're sort of in that awkward in-between where they have an older Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, surrounded by younger players, and that isn't a bad position to be in because you always want to have your future behind your veterans. It's just the way to go, and it's the way that you can be successful for so long. We saw the Spurs do it. Last season, Stephen Curry literally had an MVP season. There's no other way to put it. Stephen Curry was averaging literally 30 points per game on great efficiency. The only thing that really destroyed his case for MVP was his record. The dude couldn't win games because he was by himself most of the nights. He had Kelly Oubre, which the man was breaking shots left and right, especially to start the season. It was just awful. And Draymond Green isn't really the best help offensively to have unless he's passing the ball. So it could have been really difficult for Curry. The man was getting double, triple teamed every single game. So it was just a rough time for Curry. The dude still lit up the board, and he still had such great numbers being solo. And that's why I'm so excited for next season. The Warriors next season, they're going to have Klay Thompson back, which is such a huge deal. Even if Klay Thompson is at 50% than what he was, which is somewhat what I'm expecting. I don't expect Klay Thompson to come back and just destroy teams, dropping 37 points per quarter. No, I expect Klay Thompson to come back, come in easy, maybe average a solid 15, 14 points per game, just being a spot-up shooter most of the time. It's going to be hard for him to come back, and you might see a little bit of awkwardness and a lot of rust. It's been 2 years since the guys played basketball. It's going to be a rough season for him, and I expect it to be a long season, but I do expect it to be a decently productive season. And with Klay Thompson coming back, they also have Andre Iguodala coming back, and they signed Otto Porter Jr., which those are 2 signings that I think were pretty good. 2 signings that you need to make, especially because your team was lacking in defense last season. Klay Thompson and Andre Iguodala, they're not the same players that they were 4 years ago. Those guys are going to struggle on defense. They're going to struggle to keep up. But having them back and having them play next to Draymond and having them play defensive schemes that they're familiar with is going to help the team so much. I don't expect Klay Thompson to come back and be able to guard Damian Lillard or the other team's best players most of the time because he's going to be a lot more slower and it's just going to be a little bit more difficult for him to keep up with the game. The Warriors, they have a lot of young depth, and I really do like their depth. I do think it's not one of the better young cores, but it's also a nice young core to have. You see, the Warriors, they got Andrew Wiggins, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, and James Wiseman. Those are 5 young guys that can really contribute to a winning young core and can really develop into something special, especially playing behind Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. Those young guys can take in so much and learn so much. James Wiseman, we saw last season, it's going to take a little bit for him to learn, but he's learning the game, especially behind Draymond Green. Draymond Green is helping him a lot, and he's going to need it because young centers in the NBA take time to develop and learn the game. Their young core is pretty promising, and I do think they can fit well next to the veterans that they have now, especially in those holes that the team always presents when it's meaningful games. Like last year, the team didn't really have any shot makers. They only had Curry that was able to hit shots, and maybe Damon Lee whenever he was open in the corner, but the team wasn't really consistent offensively shooting threes, and we saw that was one of their downfalls when it came to the play-in tournament because Curry couldn't make every shot. He needs people around him to help him take the pressure off of him. And having these young rookies with so much confidence come in and play behind Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, it's going to be a great thing to see. And I do believe these young guys have so much potential and they can grow into something great for this team. Now, Andrew Wiggins' future has been up in question. A lot of people have questioned the Warriors on if they should keep Andrew Wiggins. I believe Andrew Wiggins should be a piece of this team and he should be solid for this team. Andrew Wiggins, you guys can turn him into a 3-and-D athletic player, something that he's never been able to develop. Yes, he's a little bit overpaid, but Andrew Wiggins, if you play him correctly and you play your cards right, you can have a pretty good thing going on with Andrew Wiggins. He's athletic. He can shoot the 3 sometimes. As long as they can polish and keep him on a tight leash, he'll be able to play a lot better. And, I mean, we saw last year he was showing great signs. And against the Lakers, he would torch them. Maybe they lost some of those games, but he would be playing so good against the Lakers. So I do think he's going to be a great for this team, especially for the future. He just needs to learn and develop. I know we've been saying that for years, but it's going to be one of those things that the Warriors are the only team that can really teach him that. A lot of people have presented that the Warriors make some trades, maybe move some guys, but I think that with this young roster that you have and with the veterans that you have, you got to be able to win now and win later. Stephen Curry's over 30, so is Draymond, so is Klay. You're not going to have those guys around forever. Maybe that's your window to go all in and win now and trade all the young guys, but then once they retire, you're going to be in sort of a Spurs situation where all your veterans left and now you got nothing left. I do believe they should keep these young guys around, maybe develop them, and hope that these guys are the ones that are going to take over the franchise after Curry and Thompson take a step back. But one of the main reasons why I believe the Warriors are going to be successful is because of their winning culture. The Warriors, I know, they haven't made the playoffs in 2 years, but this team has such high winning culture and such high expectations. That's why I do think that this team will be successful next year. This team, they're not going to fold under pressure. They're not going to act like they don't have expectations. This team is going to go above and beyond. Especially with how we saw Curry last year. Curry's only going to get better this year with all the help he's going to have this year. With all the young guys, with all the veterans, with everyone coming back. The Warriors are going to be so much better this season, and I'm going to be pretty excited for it. They all have a chip on their shoulder. And the Warriors want to prove to everyone that they're not done yet. They're not done destroying and ruining everyone's hopes and dreams when it comes to championships. And I believe that's true. Now, I won't tell you that the Warriors are going to win a championship. Now, I do believe that the Warriors can make the conference finals if they're fortunate enough to get good matchups in the playoffs. Now, that's a lot to ask for, but it is something I totally believe in. It's not going to be an easy season at all for them, especially with all the guys coming back from injuries and all the guys just being so young, learning the game still. But overall, I think this is going to be a great season for the Warriors. I have a lot of expectations in them. Coming off of last season, they can only get better. Our lowest expectations for them are maybe an 8th seed. So they can only do better than that, and they will do better than that. I think the Warriors are a playoff team this year, and I think the Warriors are going to do great things in the playoffs this year. So thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate all the love and support. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified, and peace out.